Hello and welcome to this episode of the Vocabulary Building series. Today we're going to focus on flavours and tastes. So let's start with the absolute classics. We've got sweet, salty, bitter, sour and spicy, which English speakers often think of as the five kind of fundamental flavours. Sweet, obviously associated with sugar and, nice chocolatey sweet things. Spicy, we tend to associate with chili and peppers. Sour, we associate with certain kinds of fruit like lemon, for example, similar with bitter. And then salty, obviously something with salt in it. So there are fundamentals. We've also got words like fishy, cheesy and peppery, where what we do is we add this y ending to create an adjective describing a thing that resembles cheese, for example. So if it tastes of cheese, it's cheesy. If it tastes of pepper, it's peppery. And if it tastes of fish, it's fishy. We tend to use these words to describe a thing that isn't actually containing that thing. So for example, I expect a fish to taste fishy. So it would probably be weird to say, oh, this fish is fishy. But if I'm eating, I don't know, a pie, for example, and I'm not sure what's in it, I might say, oh, it smells fishy. As in, does it contain fish? So yeah, wouldn't describe cheese as cheesy. But you might describe some potato chips as tasting cheesy, for example. So there are fundamentals. Then we've got some more advanced vocabulary. Words like acidic, so something that tastes literally like the pH is not near neutral. Things that might have too much vinegar in, for example. Creamy. So again, that Y ending, something that tastes of cream. Minty, tastes like mint. Greasy, that's if a food has grease in it or fat. So an alternative word would be fatty. Tangy is nice. There is an orange drink called Tango, and the adverts often make reference to it being tangy. So think of that taste of like really fresh oranges. A related word being zingy. Burnt, when you've overcooked something, cooked for too long or at too high a heat. So burnt probably isn't a positive adjective to be describing other people's cooking, for example. Zingy, that word I mentioned earlier, related to tangy. So maybe if you've got some very sour sweets that have been intentionally made to be very sour, you might describe them as tangy or zingy. And at the opposite end of the spectrum, bland. Bland food to me is food that doesn't taste of anything. Not my cup of tea. Definitely prefer spicy food or peppery food. So some more flavours then. We've got smoky. Obviously if the thing tastes like it's been cooked over smoke. Strong is an interesting one. You can use that to modify anything really. So for example, I could say this dish is smoky, or this dish has a strong smoky taste. If I'm talking about a cheese, for example, I can just say it's a strong cheese, and it really gives us that feeling that there's a lot of flavour there. It's definitely not bland. Ripe is a word we use with fruit and vegetables. There are certain things which change taste when they're ready to be eaten. So for example, if certain types of pepper aren't ripe, they have quite a sort of sharp taste to them, but once they're ripe they are sweeter. So that word ripe is always for things that grow, fruit and veg. Tasteless, literally without taste. So maybe a synonym of that earlier word, bland. Mild, which is not the same as tasteless. Mild just means that the flavour is subtle. So in cooking, for example, if I go into a supermarket in Britain and I'm looking at cooking sauces, for example, Indian cooking sauces, they might be labelled as mild, medium, or strong with regards to how much chili they contain. We can also use the word off to describe food. What we mean by off is bad. So I might open a carton of milk, sniff it, and if the smell is bad, I might say, ugh, this milk's off. So it tends to be used for things that have a shorter life and need to be refrigerated or need to be used quite quickly. So things that can go bad quickly, we can use this word to refer to it if indeed it has gone bad. It's off. And then we've got tart, which is lovely. When I think of tart, which of course is also a noun, it's a type of cake or pastry. But if something's tart, usually it's been cooked with fruit that has a very sharp taste and maybe there's not so much sugar in the dish. So if I make, for example, a lemon cheesecake, but I don't put too much sugar in, or some kind of raspberry creation, if you use raspberries and you don't put much sugar in, it's quite a strong, sharp taste, and we might describe it as tart. And then finally, watery. This really is usually used for soups and sauces. If there's not much thickness there, not much consistency, we would describe it as watery. And to be honest, it's not a compliment, usually in my experience anyway, unless you've ordered something that is supposed to be watery. If someone says to you, oh, this soup's quite watery, it means they don't think it's thick enough. Okay, so that was an overview of some words around flavours and tastes. If you can think of any more that you want to add to the list, feel free to type them in the comments below. Click to subscribe if you haven't already, and check out the rest of the playlist for other vocabulary building videos. Thanks for watching and have a great day.